Xi's removal of top generals rooted in disagreements over China's future, Analyst says. The sudden removal of two of China's most senior military officials has raised questions about Chinese leader Xi Jinping's control over the People's Liberation Army and exposed what some insiders describe as a long-term power struggle at the top of the military command. On January 24, the Chinese Communist Party announced the removal of Zhang Youxia, the first-ranked vice-chairman of the Central Military Commission, along with CMC member Liu Zhenli, who heads the Joint Staff Department. While the CCP has offered no detailed public explanation, China observers and analysts say the move reflects more than a routine anti-corruption purge. According to Tong Buqiao, a US-based Chinese pro-democracy activist, the confrontation between Xi and Zhang had been brewing for more than 3 years and was rooted in fundamental disagreements over the CCP's political direction, military strategy, and China's future. This was nothing like Xi Jinping's previous purges against generals, Tong told the Epoch Times on January 27. Zhang Youxia actually held military power. He's the only one in China with the capacity to challenge Xi Jinping. Zhang comes from one of the CCP's most prestigious military families. His father, Zhang Zongxuan, was a founding general of the communist regime and later served as head of the PLA's General Logistics Department. Zhang Zongxuan and Xi Jinping's father, Xi Zhongxuan, were close even before the communists usurped power in China in 1949. When Xi rose to power, Zhang Youxia emerged as one of the so-called princelings in the military who backed Xi's consolidation of authority. By Xi's third term, Zhang had effectively become the PLA's top operational commander, outranking all other generals beneath Xi. That position, Tong said, made Zhang fundamentally different from other senior officers purged under Xi, such as Guo Buxiong or Xu Tseho. Those figures were enforcers, Tong said. Zhang Youxia actually held military power. Clash of values strategy. Tong said Zhang had no ambition to replace Xi as the Chinese leader. Instead, their conflict stemmed from clashing worldviews. One major rupture came after Xi pushed through constitutional changes in 2018 that removed term limits. While Zhang initially accepted the move, Tong said he later came to believe that Xi's indefinite rule was destabilizing and unsustainable for the CCP. A sharper divide emerged over Taiwan, according to Tong. He said Zhang repeatedly sought to restrain Xi from launching a military assault on the island. Xi, by contrast, was increasingly eager to test China's military options. A January 26 analysis by the DC-based think tank Jamestown Foundation supports the existence of such tensions. The report notes that Xi has demanded the PLA be capable of invading Taiwan by 2027, a benchmark that Zhang and Liu viewed as unrealistic. Their internal planning suggested a much longer timeline, possibly extending to 2035. What began as disagreements over rhetoric and planning evolved into disputes over implementation. According to the Jamestown Foundation analysis, these clashes eventually took the form of what appeared to be open resistance to Xi's directives. In October 2025, the Epoch Times cited multiple military insiders as saying Zhang had clashed sharply with Xi over whether China should use force against Taiwan. They said Zhang repeatedly opposed launching an immediate military campaign, arguing that this would risk intervention from the United States and its allies. Sources said Zhang favored stabilizing the situation and avoiding a major conflict amid economic slowdown and diplomatic isolation. She interpreted this stance as undermining military morale, according to one of the 3 sources who spoke to the Epoch Times on condition of anonymity for safety reasons. Espionage allegations, information warfare. Following Zhang's removal, the Wall Street Journal reported, citing anonymous sources, that Zhang was accused of leaking nuclear weapons information to the United States, in addition to corruption. Tong dismissed the allegation as implausible and politically motivated. Accusing a top military commander of nuclear espionage, he said, would serve to deter backlash within the ranks by framing Zhang as a traitor. Because a country's most closely guarded secrets typically involve nuclear matters, the decision by Xi's regime to circulate such allegations signals an intent to destroy Zhang Youxia politically, Tong said. Notably, Zhang's official biography has not yet been removed from the CCP's propaganda and military websites. Beyond a limited military editorial criticizing Zhang and Liu, there has been an unusual absence of loyalty pledges, supportive statements, or coordinated propaganda from the PLA's theater commands and branches, Tong said. In past purges, there was wall-to-wall propaganda, he said. This time, the propaganda isn't following up, which is unusual. A source in China close to the Chinese military told the Epoch Times on January 26 that some mid- and senior-level officers were abruptly ordered to suspend leave and remain on standby, amid tightened internal controls. Tong believes the situation remains unresolved and that more people from within the CCP are opposing Xi's actions. According to Tong, Xi and Zhang once had a relationship akin to that of close brothers, and even members of Xi's own family reportedly sympathize with Zhang. The likely outcome, Tong concluded, is mutual damage. Zhang is unlikely to recover his position, while Xi's authority within the bureaucracy and military will continue to erode, fueling passive resistance and non-compliance. Ning Haizheng and Yi Ru contributed to this report.